Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another video in Git Fundamentals tutorial series. This one is going to be a long video since in this one, I'll be covering set of basic Git commands that we commonly use in our day-to-day development tasks. I'll start off with a list that I think cover almost all the basic ones, but you can always consult Git documentation online for more advanced references. Here I will discuss only the basic usage followed by a practical demonstration of each. So let's get started. First off, I'll start with git init. This one is used to initialize an empty Git repository. With that, it creates a default branch named as master, which you can always customize while doing Git installation. It also creates .git folder, which is also called the repository folder. That is a hidden folder which contains Git information about branches, user credentials, versions, etc. So let's dig deep into how we can use this. So we'll start by creating a project folder in which we want to create our Git repository. And let's say we are building a calculator app. Once that is created, I'll go ahead and go inside the project directory using git bash console. And once I'm in, I'll type git init, and it returns with a message saying initialized empty Git repository in path to this .git folder. And on the left, it is indicated that we are on master branch, which got created automatically when we initialized our repository. Next, we cover git config. So this one is used to set git configuration, and we will use it to set user credentials. And it can be set locally for one repository or globally for entire Git instance, depending upon your need. So we can use this command as git config followed by the name of the config variable. In this case, it's user.name followed by name of the user in single quotes. Similarly, we will set user's email. And then once the config is set, we will use the get flag to retrieve the configuration that is set. So we'll type git config followed by -- get followed by the name of the config variable. In this case, it can be user.name or user.email. Here I use git config to set user's name and email. So it will be git config space name of the config variable. In this case, it's user.name followed by name of the user in single quotes. Similarly, we set up user's email in the variable user.email. And once that is set, I'll verify the set configuration by using get flag followed by the name of the config variable. So it will be git config -- get followed by name of the variable. So it will be either user.name or user.email. So this is another variant of git config. In this, we specify a global flag to set the configuration globally for entire Git instance, that is for all repositories in your system. So there is nothing different except that we mention global flag while setting the config variables. Next comes git status. So it displays the state of the working directory, that is any sort of change that is uncommitted. So let's see how we can use this command. For this, I'll need to have one file in my directory since it's currently empty. So I'll name that file as main.js. And once created, I go ahead and type git status. And as you can see, it's now showing newly created file name under the list of untracked files. At this point, the file was new. That's why it was showing as untracked. Once this is committed, all the subsequent changes can be viewed by same command. In that case, it will display any changes in the file contents. Next is git add command. It is used to lock the changes in the working directory to staging area. Now what is staging area? It is a virtual space where all the changes that are to be committed are saved. So for example, I changed first 5 lines in a file. I went ahead and staged those changes. Once my changes are successfully staged, I can make subsequent changes to the file without a fear of losing them. Then running commit command, which we will cover later, will permanently save those changes. Let's see a demo of how we can use it. Previously, we added this file to the project and it was showing as untracked file since we didn't add this change to the staging area yet. Next, we go ahead and stage this change. For this, we type git add followed by name of the file. In this case, it's main.js. Now when we check the status again, our change is showing under the heading changes to be committed. That means the change, which is new file, is successfully staged and is showing in green color. Now if you've noticed, right above the file name, it's giving a suggestion to unstage the changes. So let's say you changed your mind later on and don't want to commit those changes anymore. To unstage, you run git followed by rm for remove, followed by hyphen cached, followed by path of the file. In this case, it's just main.js. After running this command, you can verify that your changes are successfully unstaged. You can confirm it by typing git status again. So like others, this command can also be used in several different ways. So for example, if you want to add a single file, you just type git add followed by path to that file. Or if you want to add all the changes in the current directory you are in, you just type git add followed by period. Or if you want to include all the changes in your project directory starting from the root level, you just type git add followed by -a caps to include those in your staging area. To learn more about this command, you can always consult the Git documentation online, link for which is provided in the description box. Let's now jump into commit command. It saves snapshot of the repository in particular branch at any given time, saves the snapshot and include as a new milestone or commit. You can use this command as git commit followed by -m small followed by commit message in single quotes indicating the purpose of the commit. Or you can use allow empty flag to make empty commit if you need to for some reason. Let's just jump into how we can use this command in the terminal, for which I'll first type git status to view the status of my repository. In this case, I have one untracked file which is main.js. So first I'll go ahead and stage my changes because that is necessary. Otherwise your changes won't be committed. And after my changes are successfully staged, next I run git commit command followed by -m small followed by the commit message in single quote. The commit message indicates the purpose of the commit. So in this case, I'll put added main.js because that's really what I did. And it returns with a message saying my commit has been successful. Next, we are going to cover git log. This is used to show the complete commit history in a branch. It can also be used with a lot of options, but most commonly we can use it simply like git log, which will display all the commits in a branch. Or use graph option to represent commits with simple graphical representation. Or there is another flag, that is the binary flag, which you can set if you need to view the detailed character by character comparison for differences in each commit. But typically we just use it without any flag, just git log. So let's see how we can use this command in the terminal. Clear up the console to make things clean. So first we use it without any flags, and it's showing the only commit we made with message, author information, date and time of the commit. Next we are going to use this command with graph flag. And if you noticed on the left, it's showing a star. That is where the hierarchical representation of commits is shown. Currently, as I only have one commit in a branch, it's not showing much, but with more number of commits made over time, it shows a nice diagram to show commit tree. And the last, we are going to see how we can use this command with binary flag. In this case, it will show additional details such as the actual character by character difference between the series of commits with indices of the characters that have been changed. So far we have covered these commands. Next comes the checkout command. It updates the files in working directory to match the branch or commit version. Basically, it lets you switch to a specific version of the project that corresponds to a different branch or a single commit. We use this command as git checkout followed by a branch name or a commit hash that corresponds to a specific version of the project. As I currently have one master branch, first I'll create a clone of it by using an option -b and name my new branch as dev. Now what this option did is that it not only created a new branch, but checked out that branch for us as well. I now use git log to view the commits to make sure they are same as master. And right next to the commit hash, you can see that currently the heads of both dev and master are pointing to this one and only commit common to both branches. Next, I'll go ahead and add some content to this file while in the dev branch. So I type placeholder for dev branch, just a comment. I save my changes and then stage my changes using the add command. Once the changes are staged, next I use git status to make sure my changes are ready to be committed. Then I commit my changes with a message, let's say added placeholder for placeholder dev branch, let's say. Once my changes are successfully committed, I can type git log to view the latest commit that I made on top of the initial commit that was when I added the main.js file. Next, if I check out master, you can see all the changes that I did in the dev branch are gone. Check out dev again, my changes are back in. You can practice this as many times as you want. So git checkout dev, you get your changes back. And in the master, you don't have these changes. So this is the concept of branching. You have separation of concerns. So just a recap of how we can create a new branch with the checkout procedure. What it does is it creates a new branch off of the branch you are currently on. If that branch already exists, you don't need to set this flag. Just git checkout and name of the branch or a commit hash. Moving on the console, let's say I want to create another branch called staging, for which I type git checkout -b followed by the name of the branch. And when I view its history, it shows exact same number of commits as dev has, since staging was cloned off of dev. Checking out master again, you will notice the head of the master branch is still sitting on the initial commit. That is, the master branch is unchanged. Now in total we have 3 branches. Checking out dev again, you will notice the histories of both dev and staging branches are same as expected, with heads of both the branches pointing to the same commit, while head of the master branch is still pointing to the initial commit. Moving on, you can also use this command to switch to the previous branch you were on. Moving on, you can also use this command to switch to the previous branch you were on. So for example, currently if you are in dev and don't remember what was the previous branch you were on, you will just run this command and you will be switched to the previous branch you were on. In this case, it's master. You can run this command as many times as you like and you will toggle between the 2 branches. Moving on, there is another command that works exactly the same way as checkout, except the name makes more sense. So instead of checkout, you will use switch to switch between branches or the commits. So you will use get switch followed by a branch name or a commit hash, or use just a hyphen to switch to the previous branch you were on. Few examples of how we can use this command. However, there is one catch. So instead of -b in this command, you will use -c to create a new branch off of the branch you were on. Let's see a few examples here. Next, we are going to cover diff command. Diff for difference. It's typically used to view difference between 2 arbitrary commits. Even with the branches, you are essentially comparing most recent commits or heads of the branches. You can use this command as get diff followed by a name of the first and second branches, or hashes if you want to compare commits. Let's see how we can use this command. First, we check out master, just another variant of checkout command, and log its history. Then we check out dev and log its history as well, just so that we have 2 histories for comparison. Now let's type get diff followed by dev and master. And it's showing that master branch is lacking following line from dev's version of that same file. Similarly, if we switch the sequence of the 2 branches in the command, putting master first and dev second, it's now showing the same change in the green color, which means the dev branch has one extra change not present in master. But in both ways, you get an idea of what exactly the difference between the 2 branches is. So far, we have covered these commands. Next, we are going to cover the branch command. It basically lists all the branches in the repository. You can use several options to delete or create a branch depending upon your need. Moving on, I type git branch to list all the branches in the repository. With my current checked out branch showing in green color, labeled with star. Now if you want to delete staging branch, you will type get branch hyphen d caps followed by the name of the branch I want to delete. In this case, it's staging. Now if I run get branch again, you will see the staging branch is no longer present. Next, you can use this command to create another branch off of master. So we type get branch followed by -c small followed by the name of the branch, and in this case it's staging. Now if we type get branch again, you will see that branch listed in the list of branches. One thing to note here is that it does not switch the branch to the newly created one, just create it behind the scenes. And then you can check out this branch the same way as others. Next, we are going to cover stash command. So what it does is it temporarily store your uncommitted local changes and leave you a clean working tree so that you can continue working on something else. Let's see how this works. While on staging branch, let's make some changes to the file. So I'm just adding one comment saying placeholder for staging. Next, I check the status to make sure changes are there. Then I type get stash to save my changes in local storage. You can always bring them back by using get stash followed by apply, and you will get your changes back. So now let's stage these changes. Then, in order to have some unstaged changes as well, let's add some more content to the file. Now when I do get status, I have both staged and unstaged changes. Now if you type get stash, you will see all of your changes are saved in the stash, including the staged ones. Now if you apply stash again, you will see all your changes are back. Only thing is that it's now considering all the changes as unstaged. Now let's create another folder inside your project directory and call it CSS. Now let's create a file inside and call it main.css. If I run git stash again, you will notice all the changes except the ones inside CSS folder are stashed. And this is because running git stash alone does not stash changes recursively in the subdirectories. Now let's just apply back the stash. Checking the status to make sure all changes are back there. So now if you want to stash everything inside the folder, you will need to use all flag. And what it does is it recursively stash everything, even in the subdirectories, to the stash. And then you can apply back the stashed content the same way as before. So far, what we have covered was straightforward with simple explanation. I purposely left the merge and rebase commands to be included in a separate video, since they require detailed explanation of the concepts behind them. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.